This is part 2 to my full guide to outreach, we'll say. And this one will be mainly focused on cold calling. Now, I've been cold calling for a while. I do not claim to be the best. There are some people out there that are way better than me, that have many more years' experience than me. But I've done it, and I've experienced it, and if my advice can help you avoid the same mistakes I did, then it was useful. So let's start off first with my favorite thing to do, a permission to pitch. You see it a lot in all types of scripts, not just cold calling. And permission to pitch is simply asking if you can pitch them. You go on the call and say, hey, we're using Andrew for this example. Hey, Andrew, yada, 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 yada. You say your first opening line or whatever. This is a cold call. Would you mind if I had 30 seconds of your time? Boom. That's a permission to pitch. In those 30 seconds, now you don't have to take 30 seconds, but I'll get into that in a minute. They agree to it. Now, if they say no, sure, they hang up. Okay, call them back in a month if you want to. Never call them back. Depends on your abundance of leads. Depends how good your leads are, if you want to. I think permission to pitch is very important because it saves you time. Because if you get on the call and you just start ranting off a script, now that can work too. Granted, that can 100% work. But for this, it saves you a lot of time because if you rant off your whole script and it takes you a minute, minute and a half, 3 things are going to happen. 1, they're going to interrupt you and say no thanks. 2, they're just going to hang up. Or 3, they may hear you out or they may interrupt you to say yes. I doubt they'll interrupt you to say yes, but the probability of them hanging up goes up if you just start ranting the second they get on the phone, and they don't feel obligated to stay. Because if you say, okay, I'm giving you 30 seconds, then they kind of feel obligated because, they're giving you their 30 seconds. They said they would hear you out. They should hear you out. It seems to work a lot better. On to the next one, though, that I was just talking about. What was I talking about? Oh, just ranting off a script. So, yeah, there are some good benefits to that. I would say a great benefit is it intrigues people. So if you start just ranting about just random things like, oh, I've been in the game for so and so long, I got my master's at, I don't know, people don't care. Give them the important stuff. If you start ranting about, I can get you 6 listing appointments in 6 months if you're going for realtors, that'll get their attention. And if you rant off something, make sure it's attention grabbing. You don't just want to sound like a monotone guy, people will hang up on you. It's very simple. Another big thing is your leads. Where do you get them? How's your volume? Are they good leads? Personally, I pay someone to get my leads. They're not the best, but it saves me a lot of time. And if that time is more valuable spent doing something other than finding leads, then it's worth it. I get 1,000 leads for around $150. That's very reasonable. If you can get 500 leads for less than $100 US, that's reasonable. But I will say the leads aren't the best. I have 1,000. I haven't called quite all 1,000 of this session yet. I've probably called 600 or so. And probably at least 50 I marked as void. I marked them as void because either 1, their number wasn't connected. 2, it wasn't the right person in general, like not even the right company, completely different for whatever reason. Or 3, they, like the number, it just never picked up. Like you're on the dial tone for 5 minutes and nothing happened. That's a void as well. You don't count it as a pickup then in this situation. Another thing I'd definitely say about cold calling is your ABR. Everything has an ABR. Goody ABR, excellent ABR. An excellent one is 10. 10 should be your ultimate goal to reach. If you reach 10, in my opinion, you definitely made it with cold calling. In the beginning, it's going to start off really bad. I mean, unless you have been cold calling forever and you are an absolutely excellent salesman, you're not going to have a high ABR. For a group of bad leads that I had a 0.25 out of 400 calls. I booked 1 meeting out of 400 dials, double dials. Now, granted, only 60 people picked up, but that's still 60 phone calls with 1 person that booked a meeting. And that's because I was kind of ranting in the beginning. And most of the people just kind of hung up. The people that did stick around didn't fit my criteria at all. So it is very important that you have good leads as well. Because if you have people that are retired from their business, that have been in business for 40 years, and they're looking to retire or they just don't want your help, not really the best idea, or people that don't exactly fit your niche. I work with agency owners. Like a name that I'll see a lot is something something media, or grow something, or something like that. Something along the lines of helping people, or it has ads in the name. That's the kind of stuff I look for if I'm just going off business names. You don't want to go for Rob's Expert Scaling. I don't know, that seems a little iffy. Doesn't seem like you'd be good clientele. Or if you're going for agencies, in my example, I wouldn't go for website creation. I wouldn't go for design agencies because, well, per project, it doesn't get them very much money. So you want to make sure that your leads are good. And that really depends up to you. You can pay more for verified leads, which means all the phone numbers are verified to actually be a real person and actually be the right business. That's up to you if you want to or not. It is quite a bit more expensive. I'm not sure exactly how much, but that works either way. With cold calling, though, that's something you can outsource very easily. You give someone a script and they talk like you. It's pretty simple unless they have some serious questions. The customer has some serious questions for you that particular cold caller cannot answer. Either way, I would find it as very useful to outsource, especially if you have a good script that you know you have a good AVR with. I feel like I'm talking with one hair here. It kind of looks kind of funny. I'm like conducting. I don't know. Either way, and I need to add something to this background because this is just a white corner. Now it's not far behind me at all. I don't know how far it seems, but that's like that much room, so it might be. I'll add something soon back there. Quick random intermission. I noticed something I mentioned at the beginning. I'm trying to remember what it was. I'm gonna add in a little snippet of me talking about it here because I'm gonna go back and watch this video. I'm gonna add this little part here. So maybe that was a good jump cut. We'll see. But I just looked back and I remember what it was. In the beginning, I talked about how you say you'll take 30 seconds. Now, I don't know what kind of pitch is 30 seconds long, but that's got to be like 2 sentences. 30 seconds, especially if you're talking in a slow, serious, kind of a commanding voice, it'll definitely take longer than 30 seconds. Either way, it doesn't have to be 30 seconds. Now, unless they say, yes, I have exactly 30 seconds, I'm about to go launch a nuke, okay? Whatever super important thing they're doing. I'm about to go get married. All right, launch a nuke is not a good example. Once you have them saying yes, you can take your time. Now, I'm not saying go into a full 5-minute spiel. If you say 30 seconds or say something odd, don't say 30 seconds, say 42 seconds. Like, who's going to say, okay, did you time your pitch? Why is it 42 seconds long? That doesn't make sense. Say 57 seconds. Say how much it is, and then I would say you can double or triple that number. If you say a minute, you could probably go to 2 or 3 without them getting upset. If you say 28 seconds, 30 seconds, you can go to about a minute and a half. I mean, people will listen either way. Most of the time, they're not super busy, especially if you're calling in business hours, unless they're at dinner or something, or if you could hear a ton of noise in the background, I wouldn't worry much about it. But when they give you the go ahead, you don't have to take 30 seconds. Just start talking. You're in the door. Now your job's to convince them. And that's the last part here. Convincing the prospect or whoever. Convincing or objection handling, however you want to put it, is by far the hardest part. I'm going to put my hand out. Is by far the hardest part of cold calling. I say it's the hardest because it's hard to trust someone just off of the phone. A lot of people will agree, especially if you're outreaching to, I guess you could say older people. I'm young myself. I already said that earlier in this video. But younger people with agencies, normally under the age of like 30, they will hear you out and they will understand because they're doing very similar things. When you're going after a 50-year-old that's been in the business for 10, 15 years, they don't care. They've gotten these calls every day for the past 20, 15 years, however they long the business, and they don't care. Those are the people that are going to be difficult. The other younger agency guys, girls, whatever, they're going to be a bit easier because they understand and they do the same thing often and they are going to feel similar to you. I guess whether they're in your same age group or not really matters. If you're a 30-year-old calling 30-year-olds, it's going to be easier. If you're a 15-year-old calling 20-year-olds, it's going to be easier. Just saying. But that would be objection handling. And this is the part of your script that no one can give to you. Yes, there are methods out there. I will put a link to my script, or at least a slightly outdated, I don't want to give you guys my exact script because I know you'll copy it word for word. I'm going to put a similar version to my script in the link to the description of this video. Feel free to check that out. I'm not going to put it up here or go through it all. But there are three main parts in there. The first part is where you get to the mission and pitch. I already talked about that. And the second part is your actual pitch, what you need to do to convince them. Your entire goal of this is show them your offer. And your offer should be good enough so that it sells yourself. And that'll be the next two parts. I'm going to make a whole DM part on this series, and I'm going to make an offer part. I might have a fifth part, haven't decided yet. But offer is definitely going to be in the next video, and it's going to be a great one. So please stay tuned for that. I might actually upload it in the same week, not just on a Monday again. Either way, getting back, the middle part is your offer. Like I said, we'll worry about the offer part later. But your offer should be something that they can't say no to. We will get you, now this is purely an example, way more exaggerated. We will get you $10,000 in 20 days, or we will pay you $10,000. Now that doesn't make sense. This is an example. But if you can really do something like that, if you can actually make them $10,000 in 20 days, use that in your offer. 100% use that in your offer. My offer, word for word, is I can get you at least $10,000 in 6 months, or I will give you a full refund plus $3,000 and 180 days of free service. That's a very much Charlie Morgan offer, I will say. But it's hard to say no to. Now, yeah, it's like everyone else's offer in some cases, depending on what you do. But come on, who wouldn't take that deal? I get a guaranteed $10,000, and for reference, let's say on average is $3,000, the cost. So they're guaranteed at least a 3 times ROI, a little bit more than 3 times, 3.3 times ROI. And if I don't get them that ROI, I will pay them how much money they've paid me, which is $3,000, on top with another $3,000, that's $6,000, and I will add another full-length program, 180 days, 6 months, on the end of it. Oh, come on. Who in their right mind would refuse that other than the price? That's a big one too, actually. That'll be part 5, sales calls and objection handling. That's a big one. But that's not really outreach. That might be a different one. Either way, that is going to be the hardest part, developing your offer. But if you have a good offer, everything's going to be easy. I don't see how this could be any more difficult for you. The real thing that you need to remember is practice makes perfect, or practice makes better. There's no such thing as perfect. Nothing is ever perfect. But if you practice, if you do your cold calls, if you do 300 a week, reasonable number, 500 if you got the time, shoot 600 if you're feeling real anxious, if you want to get there quickly, maybe 1,000 if you have all day, every day. Should be pretty easy. But if you put in the work, good things will happen. It's cause and effect. Sometimes it may take longer for others. It took me 9 months to get my first client. It's a long time. It's way more than average. You could get your first client in a month. Now, if you get it in a month, it might be just pure luck. Who knows? But either way, in the beginning, it's going to be difficult. But if you've already made it past the first client, you're done. It's the easiest step. I'm learning to drive a manual transmission right now, and the hardest thing to do is start up in first gear. But once you get rolling in first gear, the entire drive is easy. But when you stop again, you go back in neutral, getting the first gear and starting up is the hardest part. The rest of it is easy, clean highway driving. So I want you to remember that. And I will see you for part 3, maybe coming this week, maybe Monday. We'll see. And please, if you enjoyed, leave a like, leave a comment, check out the script in the description. Goodbye.